But now let's get into the tips for this week. So we'll start with Port Adelaide versus Melbourne, and this game's going to be a pretty big one because it's the start of Sir Douglas Nicholls' round for the 2 rounds. Both clubs are in the top 4. Both teams are playing very well.
Yeah.
And being at Adelaide Oval as well gives Port a huge chance.
Yeah.
However, I can't go past Melbourne at the moment. They're playing brilliantly.
Yeah, I can't either. I don't trust Port. I just don't. Yeah, they don't. Yes, they beat St Kilda, but the last couple of weeks it doesn't really show, does it? Yeah, they beat Brisbane. That was round 1. You don't really take any context out of that. So Port Adelaide's biggest test is this week.
I think Port, if they win this one, I'd give them a lot more trust in the competition.
Yeah, I think
even though it's at Adelaide Oval, I still give them huge.
Yeah, I think if you're going to give the AFL landscape a shake, Port Adelaide have to win this to give them a bit more respect. But I just don't see Port Adelaide winning this week.
So we're both picking Melbourne for that one. Next up, we get to North Melbourne versus Sydney. This is at Marvel Stadium, Saturday afternoon. This is such a danger game for Sydney, I think. I know we talked about this before we started. I know you don't have the same thoughts. I think this is a huge danger game for Sydney. I actually have tipped North Melbourne in this one.
No, you haven't.
I have tipped North Melbourne in this one.
You haven't.
Sydney have lost Callum Mills to injury. He is our best midfielder. We've lost Logan McDonald, who's arguably been our best tall forward this year.
Yeah.
We have... And one thing that I know a lot of people aren't mentioning, but this is a huge factor for this game. Nick Larkey's had a huge record against Sydney in the past 2 or 3 times they've met. I think he's kicked 5 goals plus in the last 2 or 3 times we've met North Melbourne. And that's when we had Rampy, McCartan... Well, Rampy and Tom McCartan. I don't think Paddy was in the one before that one. But I think Nick Larkey could stranglehold the Sydney defence, because I don't know if Tom McCartan's in this game. I think he's a week-by-week basis. If he's not in this game... I don't think I'm changing this tip anyway. But I think North Melbourne are going to pull this one off. And I know Luke Davies-Uniacke is probably out. I think he's out. But I still think, because Sydney have lost Callum Mills, who I think is our best two-way runner, look, I think Sydney could win this game, obviously, but I give North... And I think as well, the Clarko factor against John Longmire is going to be something that we saw Stuart Dew do in the first few times against the Swans. He gets them up for this game. I'm picking North.
Yeah, I just can't. I don't have that much confidence. And I think Sydney have won 10 of the past 11 against the Roos, so it's just hard to. And like you said, it's a danger game for Sydney, and I think... I don't know. I think the defenders on North Melbourne side will get destroyed by Buddy. They don't have... Mackay is playing pathetic. Same with Core. And there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on them this week after the Port game, but I just can't. You just can't. And without Luke Davies-Uniacke, I don't think they can win. So Sydney, I think.
After that, we get to the Bulldogs versus the Crows. This one's a pretty big one. This one's down in
Ballarat.
Down in Ballarat. So this is going to be freaking cold. It's going to be a slugfest, I think. I'm not too sure about the weather, but the weather's never sunny sunny in Ballarat. Let's just put it that way. The Bulldogs have been in very good form. I think they've won their last 4 or 5 games. They're playing some good footy. The Crows are obviously playing very good as well. I'm actually checking to see what I tipped in this one. I did pick the Crows in this one. They are playing very good at the moment. If it rains, I may actually change my tip on this one. But at this stage, I'm going to pick the Crows. I think they're just playing a little bit better.
Yeah, I've went the Crows. I don't know. But it's going to be a close game, I think. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I think, because it's down there. It's a very windy ground and very open ground, so...
I think the Crows won down there last year.
Yeah, it was the game that Billy Frampton dominated when he was out there. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Crows do win, though.
After that, we get to Fremantle versus Geelong. If this was last week, I'd be saying Geelong all day. Even though it's in Perth, I would still be picking Geelong all day. But we saw that Geelong do have a bit of a weakness against Richmond, and we saw that Fremantle, if they play well, can score.
Yeah.
I'm going to be picking Geelong, and they will be my certainty pick for the week. However, I'm not 100% confident. If this was down in Geelong, 100-point win to Geelong. Maybe not that much, but I will be picking Geelong 100%. Just because it's in Perth, I give Fremantle a bit of a chance, but I still think I'm confident enough that Geelong will win this one.
Yeah, I have to go Geelong. They've scored 200s in a row, Fremantle, for the first time I think since 2016, something, maybe 2019. I can't remember what it was. But you just can't trust their forward line to score a winning score every week for the Dockers, but you can with the Cats, and I think they'll get Chris Scott will get to the players and rip them a new one. Really,
What a response.
Yeah, they'll get a response, and Geelong will win.
After that, we get the Saturday night, the Q Clash, Brisbane versus the Gold Coast. Brisbane will win. I think Brisbane will win this game. This is at the Gabba. But I think if the Gold Coast want to prove they want to make finals, I'm not saying they have to win this one, but they have to keep it close. The amount of Q Clashes that happen and they're just blown out by the Brisbane Lions is just pathetic. I think the Gold Coast need to play really, really well in this one and get it close, but I think Brisbane will win this one pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think they'll win it comfortably. Like you said, it's at the Gabba. They never lose there. The Gold Coast just need to get some respect in the Q Clash because I think I don't know what the average is, but I think it's like 12 goals the difference between in games in the Q Clash. It's really pathetic. It's not a rivalry. It's just
you can't count it as a rivalry until there's two teams battling it out.
It's not a contest. But I just like they did against Melbourne.
Yeah,
they want a contest. I want a four-quarter performance from the Gold Coast. Yeah. They don't need to win. They just need to show up and perform and play the game, the style they've been playing the last month of footy.
Yeah. After that, we get to Dreamtime at the G, Richmond versus Essendon. This is a really interesting one because I think last week I would have been picking Essendon. But because Richmond now have beaten Geelong, I'm giving them the tip in this one. I'm giving them the tip, and I don't know 100% why. I just trust Richmond a little bit more than Essendon at the moment.
Yeah, I've went to Bombers. I don't know. I just the last month has been below standard, but I just don't trust Richmond. I don't know. It's just such a bloody horrible game to tip. I don't know.
This could go either way. This could go either way.
I think this is such a hard game to tip, and I don't know. I've went the Bombers reluctantly, so I don't know.
After that, we get the Sunday early game, Sunday afternoon, Hawthorn versus West Coast down at Tasmania. Well, this one I think decides the wooden spoon. Honestly, I think this could definitely decide the wooden spoon.
Because I think is it Hawthorn play North Melbourne again, and then I think Hawthorn and Eagles play again later in the year. So.
Well, I think maybe not decide the. I think this will actually decide who finishes lower than the other because I think I don't know. This just sucks. This game. It just sucks. I'm picking Hawthorn because it's in Tassie. That's it. That's all I'm changing my pick for.
Yeah, I'm going the same as Hawthorn. It's down in Tasmania. They do play well down there, and
despite them hating playing down there as James Sicily.
Yeah, there's nothing to do down there.
There's nothing to do down there. It fucking sucks. But we want a team there.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. But I'm picking Hawthorn.
Yeah, I went Hawthorn. You have to pick someone. You have to.
After that, we get to probably the biggest game of the round. Maybe not game of the round, but it's definitely the biggest. Carlton versus Collingwood.
You're probably right now. Port Adelaide, Melbourne. But yeah.
Which we'll get to in a second. We'll get to the multi at the end of the tips.
Yeah.
Carlton versus Collingwood. I'm picking Collingwood, obviously. Collingwood are by far better than Carlton. Carlton should be getting this down to the wire, but they won't. I don't trust Carlton one bit now, and I'm picking Collingwood, and I think they'll win this one pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be... There'll be a huge crowd for it because...
It always is.
But, Collingwood win by probably about 40 plus points. They're going to absolutely kill them off the ground.
Yeah. And finally, we get to GWS versus St Kilda at Giant Stadium to finish off round 10. I'll pick the Saints. I think they should win this one. I think they'll lock GWS away. They'll, like I said a little bit earlier, they'll be able to lock away teams that are below them. I think they'll just choke GWS out of this game.
Yeah, I've put my certainty on the Saints this week. Yeah,
the Giants don't have enough forward guys to fucking...
besides Hogan, who's actually playing well this season, I'll give him credit for that.
Well, they've already moved Harry Himmelberg back.
And Harry Himmelberg doesn't have a spot. Toby Green... I don't know.
I think Cal Wilkie's the perfect matchup.
I think he'll go to. Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because either him or Patton, I think, will go to him, and Battle will go to Hogan. So they've got the matchups. They've got.
Will go.
Dougal will go to him, and yeah.
But there were so many options to just go to Toby
yeah.
Green if he gets away.
They've got the options for it.
And plus, one thing that happened last week was Cal Wilkie had a shocker. And he doesn't do that very often, so
he'll be his own worst enemy. He'll put all the pressure back on himself. So he will absolutely come out in this game. Yeah, he'll back up, and yeah, they're certainly on the Saints this week.